folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy, and it is a good sign that I accidentally had that we were ending the stream instead of starting the stream, because that means that I was distracted with the stuff that I'm working on. Today we're going to do something a little special. We're going to work on something that we're kind of building towards for a future project that we kind of have to pivot to briefly because our printing partner, we'll check this out real quick, currently still does not have our mouse pads available. We are kind of desperately trying to figure that out, and it's not working. These are not available, and they've been that way since like mid-December. So we're trying to kind of pivot because we have hopefully some hopefully we have some live events that we're going to be going to, and you can't really do anything without a product. So we're trying to make a product. And what I'm currently doing right now is building out our maps in a kind of different way to allow us to have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to those live events. Let me see if the picture is ready to show yet. There we go. So when you typically look at the Tellest maps, we have something that looks a little bit like, minimize that real quick. You stupid PowerPoint. Typically we have something that looks a little bit like this. You know, it's 2 maps by 3 maps in a zone right now. I mean, we have one zone that's a little bit bigger than that, but this is kind of the standard, right? Like, this is what we're trying to build towards. Our maps are on the mats that we get. They're 36 by 18, so just shy of 20 by 40, which is the size of the map that we actually make. But if we're not able to get those maps printed, I was thinking that what we could do is kind of build out with 11 by 17s, because that's like a standard poster size that you can use. And what you'll notice is I kind of mathed out, all right, if we're going to do that as a thing, what we need to do is grab a kind of chunk of, why didn't that take? You need to kind of grab a chunk of tiles and add to that. So you can see we had 6 more tiles that we had to go south on our map, and over here, if we come up to the top, we knew that we needed to go 5 east. So that's why when I started the stream, I was doing this, because what I'm doing is taking our southeasternmost map, and we're going to make a clone of it and resize it and kind of build out with that in mind. This is not going to be like the official, I don't believe, whatever would be south and east of this map. It's just like a pivot to make sure that what we're building towards could work for the little side project that we're running. That's not to say that we can't take parts of it and build out, but right now the plan is, let's take this area here, this kind of border, and build something that looks a little bit more realistic, instead of just having the alternative would have been like a black border or something like that, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So let's take a little step in here real quick. We're going to do a save as clone, and we're going to call it we can do force wishing well extended border. And then the idea with this is for the middle east, the middle comma east map, it would be an extra 5 spaces to the side. And for the northeast map, it would be an extra 5 spaces to the side. For the southwest map, it would be 6 spaces south and 5, no, just south. So it's only really 4 maps that we're adjusting, because if we come over here again, the only things that we have to do is the little bit here east, the little bit here east. This is the big one right here, because this is the one that we have to build out. sideways for both of these, and then this one last piece over here. So you're basically doing 4 maps, a little bit of extra work to bring things into, you know, correct position. So we're going to come in here. Let's look for our grass pattern, because what we're going to try and do is just mimic what we already have. So we are on the background layer. So bring that, and you can see it's the correct shape and size and everything. You know, instead of doing it that way, because I don't really need to blend, let's do our fill over here, and we're going to snap to the grid, and we'll bring this over. And it's very clean right now, and what we're going to have to do is fix that, but figure at least to start, we'll cover all our bases. And I'm only going to bring it up to about there, because there's already a kind of blend in there. So let's do... Oh, I fixed the brush size, but not the opacity, which is one of the things that I was trying to do there. There you go. All right, let's go to... Figure we've already got this kind of like brown path. Let's continue that as well. So do that. Maybe we'll shift it over this way. And we'll split it in 2 different directions. And that way the players can kind of decide which way they want to go with things. Let's grab some trees and stuff. I don't need to have that snap to grid anymore, so we'll do that. And let's go back to our brush real quick. See, the nice thing about like building off of the maps is you've already got some work done for you. You know, like we came down 6 spaces, but a lot of this is already kind of put together for us. Let's grab the... Come on. What you doing? Alright, whatever. We'll do it this way. I don't have to do a shift click. I do want to do a little bit more opacity down, because I want to blend it a little bit, especially since you're coming down here where there's a little bit less tree cover, but we will do a little bit on the path itself. And let's make sure that we have down here as well. And one of the things that we probably will not do is we're not going to really add too many points of interest. That's not really what we're trying to build out here. Just trying to extend this and make this a little bit more usable for us. So let's grab this tree, because I feel like we don't have too many like scraggly trees over here. So this is fine, and then we'll just mess with the randomization a little bit, the angle that is. Okay, we're going to do a couple more passes over here. And I feel like we need maybe another thing over here. Let's do a pine tree down there. So that you can kind of walk through there without any problems. And let's maybe grab some other stuff to kind of bring it all together a little bit more. Fallen tree there. Do we have any stumps, or do we have a smaller one that I could bring in here? We'll do this one and shrink it down a little bit more. Just want to make sure that it's not. Yeah, we'll shift it the other way instead. Do something like that, and maybe one more tree. And also, to bring this all together, let's do. Grab this tree here, and I am going to go to the advanced settings, go to the color. We're going to saturate it a little bit more, so it's a little bit of a different color than we usually get. Maybe that's a little too much. We'll do it like 120, 30. And then what we're going to do is shift this down here, right? Because we're still in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like this is where our previous maps have ended, but this will connect the left and right map and make it look a little bit more kind of cohesive. Let's grab some shrubs and tree coverage and stuff like that. Ooh. Too much zoom going on. Let's see, we have down here some other weird flowers and stuff. Shift that under these guys a little bit. Oh, you need to be under that tree. Alright, and let's grab a little bit more of that kind of tree coverage undergrowth. Let's do one more of these. And we got the rock over there, but let's do let's grab one of these ones. We'll find some brown spots to put that in. I feel like 30 is our happy number, so we'll throw one of those over here too. And do we have any other? I see the pink flowers. We had the regular green guys. I don't want to use the blue guys because I usually prefer them around water. Let's grab old yeller. And we'll throw one yellow flower up here now. And again, you'll notice I'm sticking in this general area. You know, there's a, let me see if I can do an example of where we're working. Working for some reason. No, it isn't working. That's a little weird. Weird. Well, that is the general area that we're working on. All right, let's do. I think that's actually okay. And 100 numbers, 100 changes. Let's do a real quick save. I want to make sure that we are in the right map. I'm not trying to save over the actual. Oh, you know what? Let's come down here as well. So there's a little bit of blend that I want to do here that we might have missed. Oop. Right, because we're supposed to be about 6. and that'll help put it together a little bit better. A little bit there as well. All right, so we've extended that one. It's no longer 100, but that's okay. All right, while that's saving, let's go check out our sponsor. And now, a word from our sponsors. The Old Aunt Mythopia is sure to be unlike anything you have ever read or experienced before. Author No Originality intends for it to be something that is interpreted differently by each person who flips through its pages. Is it a new age set of fables to rival Aesop? Perhaps it's just a series of Easter eggs for those who like gaming culture. Or maybe it is a recommendation on how to live one's life. While the book itself is full of possibilities and open to interpretation, one thing isn't: the passion with which No Originality built out the project. A team of great artists came together to make the Old Aunt Mythopia, and it shows. It takes a tremendous amount of talent to manage talent, and to bring a vision to life, and No Originality pulled it off wonderfully. Check out our promo for the Old Aunt Mythopia, an incomplete trilogy, on the Tellest website. I'm so lucky to have Rihanna here. All right. So you'll notice that. Thank you. So you'll notice there's a little bit of unplanned promotion here, right? We've got the Patreon Tellest logo here, and that's specifically because this is kind of like the border to the forest. This was, I think, like our 16th map, maybe, if you consider like me and Matt like both doing the map side by side. And I didn't know at the time that I was going to continue building out the zones like this. So we have this as not like I can't go into a resize and grab what I need like that. But what we can do is, at least for the purposes of what we're doing here, we can leave that stamp there like this if we need to. In theory, what we can also do is, if I copy that, snap that to the grid. Right, I can lock this one in place. And then this one I can flatten to the background. And where is... I got the forest entrance battle map up there, but let's do the lake. So now if I scooch that out of there, the other map is already there and I can play with it a little bit more. So in theory, I don't need that there, but what we probably will do is I'll just take that, and then I will mess with the opacity of that, and then we'll lock it, and then we'll get out of there. We'll deselect that. And that way, if I ever need to reconstruct it somehow, I can. Let's go into our stamps one more time, and let's move the opacity up so that we have things the way we ought to have them. So we've got that there. It's a little bit blurry because it is an image that was much smaller and we blew it up a little bit, but we should still be able to do what we need to do here. So we're going to go into the grass set again. It should be relatively, yeah, I mean, you can see it's been flattened to the background. So if I came in here and I did the dirt, I'm just going right over top of it. But everything is lined up pretty properly. So if I come down here, right, this one's a little brighter because it was a softer blend. So what we'll do is We're going to go into the opacity settings one more time. And we'll just do kind of light touches here. And that way it'll look like it'll blend a little better. To be perfectly honest, this sort of won't work because of what we're going to need to do. But let me try and think. It used to be that you'd be able to copy pieces of these maps over as needed. Like they had an ability to do that. We can't quite do that anymore, but what I can still do is on the final product, when I'm working at putting this all together, I'm going to throw it into, you know, a Photoshop document, because I know that when I'm putting together these posters, I'm grabbing that much for our 11 by 17 poster 1, and then I'm grabbing that much for 2, and so on and so on. So I can have it shaped however I need to, and I'm just going to plug in these maps and throw them in where they need to go. So right now, this is technically not working, but we'll be able to Frankenstein it together pretty nicely, I think. Let's see. So I know that I'm going to need to put a little bit of a river in here. I think that we're doing things a little bit differently because this map, I believe, when we originally had it, this was foreground and background, and right now it's only background. But that's okay. Let's do, I want to be a little bit more deliberate about that, so we're not going to do it like that. We're going to throw on the opacity. Okay, and let's do a little bit of this dirty look on the side. This is the only part that kind of stinks about having it like this, is when you're doing it with the foreground background, you can go across the like the edge a little bit more, and we're going to lose that here, but I think it'll still look nice when we're done with it. So let's do right along the border. And we need some trees and some brush and stuff like that. So let's grab that as well. We've already got this one over here. Let's grab another tree like this. Doesn't need to snap to grid anymore, so we can take that off. We'll do this. Throw that one there. And the idea, of course, is that these this is like the entrance to the forest, so we'll kind of, as the river is starting to move over, we'll do the same thing with the trees. We'll shift that slightly to the side, but not a tremendous amount. And then let's grab our brush again, our tree brush, and let's move it up to like 50. We'll do 45. We'll start kind of low. And we'll start to blend that in there as well. And a little bit more there. Let's do a little bit more grass over here and keep it a little bit greener and more lush. Break that down a little bit. because that tree is part of the background layer now, it's not going to look quite the way that I want it to. Come in there and blend that a little nicer. Alright, got a couple of rocks up here, so let's do... Grab one of these guys again, and let's see, we got one of each of them for the most part. Let's grab the little guy. Throw that there, and I feel like the water's a little off. Let's do a save real quick, and then like the last thing that we'll do, let's call this one, and that way if we don't like this one we can kind of redo this piece. Let's grab, if we go to Incarnate in general, I'm gonna go into our maps real quick. Go back to our overview. We'll go into our lakes, Forest Lake. Let me see if I can just go in here real quick. It's the one bad thing about having like 800 maps is getting to the bottom of it. I don't need the filter, so we can turn that off. And then I'm just trying to make sure that we got the water right. So we've got texture scale is correct. It's because I'm using different water. So, let's get the right water, shall we? Alright, so it's in Sea, Ocean, and Life. There we go. Alright, so let's do this one more time. We're going to go through here. You know what? Let's just all the way. There you go. And let's do one more pass with the kind of brownish dirt. I'm not even using the stylus or the pencil or whatever right now. Okay. I feel like we lose a little bit of greenery. Let's go back one more time. We're going to try and blend this a smidge more. Bring it down to like 33%. Just a little touch of green over here. Alright, and we've got this area over here. Looks a little barren. I don't really need a point of interest or anything, but maybe we can do another happy little bush. Not BH. Alright. Nothing too crazy. It will be fun to see how that all looks put together. But that's a pretty good start, and then after that what we need to do is build up 2 maps, so we'll save that for tomorrow. Let's close the show. Yeah, boy. So folks, on the screen right now you should see all the places that you can find Tellest out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a great first place to start, but you can get premium versions of our maps on patreon.com/Tellest, Tellest.etsy.com, and battlemapfantasy.com. If you want Patreon, that'll bring you to the cheapest way that you can get our digital maps. You can get, I think at this point, like 150 maps for, I think, as little as like $2 a month if you get the low res versions. Tellest.etsy.com will bring you to our physical maps, but they are currently on hold until our major printing partner gets those things back in place. Hopefully we can do things like this that bring our products to life in a different way and might be more or less affordable for you depending on your needs. Battlemapfantasy.com will bring you to our drive-through RPG where you can get our maps in digital form in kind of like an a la carte form. We've got 2 TikTok channels for you. TikTok.com/@TalesOfTellest is where you can go to find our pooches. In the beginning of this episode, we heard Luna barking a lot. That's pretty much her whole thing, so check her out. She does a lot of funnier barks than just getting angry at people outside. At Weird Witch Wands is where you can go to find Rihanna's handcrafted one-of-a-kind magic wands, felt creatures, gem belly dragons, all those kind of cool things. And then the last 2 places that I'll bring your attention to are our video channels. YouTube.com/@WorldOfTellest is where you can go to catch all these videos well after they're off the Twitch platform. But Twitch.tv/ThatTellestGuy is the only place that you can follow me live, the place that you can let me know that you can't hear me when I'm working on my maps, and so forth and so on. We're going to be back with our Quantum Quest lives relatively soon, so definitely make sure that you kind of hang out here and get your channel points. Who knows, you might even be featured on a Quantum Quest live game someday soon. But that'll be it for today. We're going to wrap things up and we'll be back tomorrow, but until then, I'll miss you.